Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today I, Surbhi Goel, is going to discuss a case law on vicarious liability for the act of a partner. So the case name is State Bank of India versus Mrs. S and Company. So first of all, let me tell you the fact of the case. The judgment came on 4th March 1989. So the complainant filed the complaint before the SBC and the same was referred by the SBC to one of its DCs. Obviously, the DC of the SBCs could not conclude the case within the statutory period of 1 year, and therefore it stood transferred to the BCI under Section 36B of Advocates Act 1961. The Act of the BCI heard the case on several dates. The evidence on both sides was recorded and arguments of both sides were heard. The case was posted for judgment. While writing the judgment, the DC had some doubts as the facts and issued notices to the parties for rehearing. On receiving the notice, the respondent filed an application praying the committee to decide on the maintainability of the case before going into the merits of the case. On the next day of hearing, the respondent produced certified copies of 2 letters written by the complainant bank to him and filed an application for taking those letters on record. The advocate for complainant prayed for time for filing objections to this application and case was adjourned. On the next date of hearing, the advocate for complainant submitted that he was not going to file any objections. The advocate for respondent argued on the application. The advocate of the complainant once again prayed for time for filing objections and submitted that he will argue only after filing the objections. He submitted that on the earlier occasions he had not received the copies of the letter sought to be produced by the respondent as evidence, and therefore he could not file objections. Adjournment was granted and the prayed for. Even on the next date of hearing, the arguments were not concluded and the case was adjourned for further hearing. On the date of further hearing, the advocate for complainant filed an adjournment application, which was rejected. Of course, the letters were admitted in evidence and arguments were closed. The judgment was reserved. In this case, the respondent is a solicitor firm. The solicitor firm practicing in Delhi. Complainant's bank and its branches used to entrust most of the cases to the respondent firm. Jangpura branch on the complainant bank entrusted a case to the advised firm against a borrower for breach of financial discipline. The respondent advised the bank to file a criminal complaint and also a civil suit for recovery of money against the said borrower. According to the bank, it lodged a police complaint and filed a civil suit through the respondent firm. The bank entrusted the valuable original loan document to the firm along with the fees and expenses. After a few days, the bank inquired with the respondent firm about the name of the court in which the suit had been filed and the next date of hearing. But no reply was received from the respondent firm. Therefore, it became suspicious that the firm was withholding vital information regarding the case. It instructed the respondent that to retire from the case and appointed another firm to look into the matter. The bank was informed by the new firm that though the suit had been filed by the respondent plant, but the plaintiff was not represented. In the meanwhile, the law department of the complaint bank came across a case reported in AIR 1978 SC 335. In that case, structures were passed by the Supreme Court against a senior member of the respondent firm for a similar conduct in the case reported therein. Therefore, the complaint bank believes that the respondent firm had misappropriated the money given to it towards fees and expenses and had failed to account for the same. The original papers which formed the basis of complainant bank's claim against the borrower have also been either secreted, destroyed or misappropriated and converted to their own unlawful benefits by their respondent firm. Therefore, the partners of the respondent firm were guilty of professional misconduct. So, the respondent case, only one of the partners spread and filed this defense. He denied all the allegations. He contended that the firm had filed the suit and the allegations in the complaint to the effect that the same was returned by the court for rectification of defects was false. Hence, he contended that there was no occasion for all holding the firm liable his misconduct. He further contended that the complainant has signed Wakalatnama only in the name of the senior member of the firm and not in his name or in the name of other member of the firm. Therefore, even if the allegations in the complaint were true, he is not liable because of the misconduct of one partner. Another partner is not held liable unless they abetted or they are accessories to the misconduct directly. He contended that there is no vicarious liability. He also raised the preliminary objection as to maintainability of the pleadings. On the basis of pleading, the following issues were framed. First, is the case maintained whether the plaint was returned to the respondent as illegal and whether the respondent wrongfully withheld documents. So I'm going to repeat the issues that are framed. Is the case maintainable? Second, whether the plaint was returned to the respondent as alleged. Third, whether the respondent wrongfully withheld documents. So the order, now I'm going to tell what the order. Therefore, the senior partner of the firm was found guilty of serious professional misconduct and was suspended from practice for a period of 5 years. He was also made liable to pay of cost rupees 5,000 to the complainant bank. Other partners of the respondent firm were exonerated of all charges leveled against them. Thank you so much.